class, continuation of our, was this 4th or 5th class? Well, today we'll be taking the if, else, and elif statement in Python. So it's a very easy subtopic under the Python. So let me show you a diagram. We'll see this. All right. As you can see, this is a flow chart of the if, else, and elif. Now, you put in your condition here. This is the test of the if statement. You put in your condition, probably 5 greater than 2. If 5 is greater than 2, if it is true, it will show you your result here. You can continue, you can proceed on your code. If 5 is not greater than 2, then it will say since 5 is not greater than 2, if 3 is greater than 2, continue here. And then if 3 is not still greater than 2, it will show you false, and then it will give you the statement else. Else, what should you do? Else, you do another thing. Else, you write the numbers are less than 2. Do you get me? So let's say I said 2 greater than 6. If 2 is greater than 6, no, it will not show you the body of the if here. It will not proceed. Else, since if 2 is greater than 6, it will not show you here. Else, since 2 is not greater than 6, since 2 greater than 6 is false, to continue on this side and say, what should you do next? Since 2 is not greater than 6. Now, you continue here. You can say, since 2 is not greater than 6, if 2 is greater than 4, you continue here. Continue on this part. Is 2 greater than 4? No. Else, that's false. Else, what should you do? Else, you say 2 is too small, or 2 is lesser than all of them. So this will be the body of the else. The else ends the if statement. Do you get me? So I'll show you examples now. Now this is our code, our IDE rather. So let's test the if statement. If 2 is greater than 5, if 2 is greater than 5, what should you do? You use this colon, and you see there will be an automatic indentation. That's what comes with Python, an automatic indentation. When you are not writing it on a single line, there will be an automatic indentation. And let's see, if 2 is greater than 5, what should you print? Print 2 is greater than 5. Okay, let's see. Will it print it? No, it won't print it since 2 is not greater than 5. So now, what do you do? What do you do? You come on here and say else. Else. Sorry about that. Else print 2 is not greater than 5. 2 is not greater. Since 2 is not greater than 5, it's printed 2 is not greater than 5. Now, but assuming 2 was greater than 5, let's say 2 is less than 5. This if we print, you can just leave it at this if 2 is less than 5. That's what we printed. 2 is less than 5. Can you see, since it is true? Since it is a true, it's a true statement, so it will obviously print it. And let's move on. We have used the else, right? Let's move on to the next. Let's write it if 2 is greater than 5. Print 2 is greater. Else. Can you see the indentation I'm using? The else and the if will be on the same line. Else print 2 is not greater than 5. So send it to print. Now going to the else if. Now, what if 2 was not greater than 5, and then we now put another condition under. let's see it. If 2 is greater than 5, repeat this. So why am I pressing play? We repeat this, and can you see? Let me just copy and paste here. So we're repeating this, and then we say elif. Elif, can you see? Moved it. It has been moved to the on the same line. Now else if 2 else if 2 if 3, we can use another statement, we can use another condition. Do you get? We can use another condition. Let's say if 2 is greater than 4, and now coming down, what should you do? Let's print we say 2 is greater than 4. 2 is greater than 4. Else, let's say else. We can say else. We should print else. We can also say else. Print 2 is a small number. Let's say else 2 is a small number. So it's not up to their level. 2 is a small number. Now to print else, to print 2 is a small number. Since 2 greater than 4 is not true, it won't stop here. It will come at the end. 2 is a small number. But assuming 2 is less than 4 was true, it will never ever print. Now to say 2 is greater than 4, stop at that elif. Can you see 2 is greater than 4? So that's just the main explanation. That's how it goes. And then you can use this if statement for operations. You can use it for operations. Do you understand me? So if statements can be used for operations. So how do we do that? We take 2 or more operations. I taught you operations there, and or now let's do. Now we say if 2 is greater than 5 or 2 is less than 5. So this is true because it's an or. One of them. It doesn't matter if any of them is wrong, as long as one out of the conditions is correct. So if 2 is greater than, now print 2 is acceptable. 2 is acceptable. Else what do we do? We print 2 is not acceptable. To print 2 is acceptable, since one of them is correct, is an or statement. But assuming we used and, because both of them must be correct in an and statement. I taught you in the operation last class. So it will print 2 is not acceptable. Can you see? Now let's use the elif here. The elif. Let's use and, so that it will create a false result. And then else if, we can use the else if. Else if 2 is greater than 5 or 2 is less than 5. You know it will produce a true statement. Now what do? We still print 2 is acceptable, because anyone is still acceptable. So to print 2 is acceptable. 2 is acceptable. 2 is acceptable. That's what it will print. 2 is acceptable. But assuming it is not acceptable, it will end up printing what? This 2 is not acceptable. Let's say and. Else if 2 is greater than 3, let's say 2 is greater than 3 and 2 is less than 1. You know both of them are false. So it will print or, since 2 of them are false, it will print this thing. 2 is not acceptable. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you now understand what I'm saying? That's how easy it is. So see you guys on the next class. We'll move on to the next class in the next class. So bless guys. Peace.